Hello everyone, this is Darrell. I've got the Coopsnmore extra large chicken plucker and 32 gallon 5,000 watt 240 volt Scalder Pro combo in the bed of my pickup truck right now. I'm getting ready to unload it. I have 13 chickens to butcher today, so I'm going to open it up, set it up, test it out in preparation for the next batch that I have coming up in a few weeks of 100 chicks. I'm looking forward to using this new equipment and hope that it serves me really well the coming year. Okay, my first impression of these is they're very well built. This is the dunk basket that goes inside the Scalder. Has two handles there to pick it up so you can put the chickens totally in there. You can get the whole bodies of the chickens in there, including the feet. And then here's the Scalder itself. Temperature controls right there. Came with this little drain nozzle. Has the two heating elements. 5,000 watts total, 240 volt. Temperature sensor. You can close it to keep the heat in, and there it is. And here's the chicken plucker. It's the extra large. It's definitely handmade, which is not a bad thing. There's a little bit of warps and scratches, and it's all cosmetic though. The thing is sturdy, it has good casters on the bottom. Plenty of plucker fingers. They feel pretty good. And this will just plug into a typical 15 amp outlet. There's the on-off, waterproof. I'm really looking forward to trying these out. All right, everyone, I have the processing area set up now. I have the plucker over here. I turned it on, nice and smooth. I have the Scalder here behind me and the dunk basket next to it. It's heating up right now. It's at 81 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been heating up for about 10 minutes now. The water coming out of our well is around 45 degrees, which is pretty cold to start with. So it's increased the temperature by almost 40 degrees in about 10 or 15 minutes. The noise in the background, I kind of covered it as well as I could. It's my generator, which I need out here to run that Scalder and plucker. 12,000 peak watt generator, which I figured would be pretty good for this Scalder and this plucker combined. Now the Scalder is supposed to be 5,000 watt peak, so it has two heating elements, a 2500 and a 2500. So that will use up just over half of the continuous power capacity on propane of this generator. And then this plucker uses very little power. It won't use more than 500 or 600 watts just by my guesses. So you should be okay with a 14 gauge extension cord running to it. So this is a very versatile piece of equipment, can be used even if you're farther away from a building or if you don't have a very good generator. However, this Scalder, you need 5,000 watts, 240 volt. It has 20 amp rating on the plug. This is the plug that came with the Scalder. It has a vertical prong and a horizontal prong. It's NEMA 620, rated for 20 amps, 250 volt. So with this Scalder, you'll most likely need a 30 amp, 240 volt outlet with that plug-in type, or you can switch the connector on the end of the Scalder or get an adapter. I just switched the end out. In my case, it was easy enough to do. Okay, now I'm gonna take you around and I'm gonna show you how I have it set up right now, and I'm gonna see how it goes. My brother Miles is on the way right now. He's gonna help me. So I'm kind of just waiting for him to get here and waiting for the Scalder to heat up, and then I'm gonna start processing these chickens. Here's the table I use for evisceration. It has a pretty cool faucet where you can just connect a hose, and then it has a drain here that goes directly into a bucket. I have a cooler here. It has ice and water in it right now for the initial chill, and then after all the chickens have been killed and chilled, I will drain that water and replace it with fresh ice water. That's what this extra ice is here for. Here's a better look at the Plucker. It spins really nicely. I'll show you. It's pretty great. Smooth, quiet. And again, this is with the Scalder is on right now, pulling approximately 5,000 watts from that generator, and the Plucker's going at the same time, and the generator's not having an issue with it, which is awesome. Here's a better look at the Scalder. I have it about 3/4 full of water, and I gotta say the controls on this thing are so simple. It's pretty awesome. You just click set, choose your temperature, press set again, and then it goes, and it'll maintain it. So we're at 93 now, as you can see, and that's Fahrenheit. Here's my kill cone stand. I got these kill cones on Etsy. I'll go ahead and put a link down below. Here's my chicken tractor. I took off the roof already. I made the roof removable so it's easy to get the chickens. So they're over there in the shade. I moved the roof off hoping that they would move closer in the shade there. We'll see if they move. I'll put links to all of this down below so you can see everything I'm using. These knives I've found work awesome. They're the Victorinox. They have the orange handle. I believe the blade is 3¼ inches. You keep these things sharp, hone them every so often. They have no issues whatsoever. All right, that Scalder's gonna heat up and then we're gonna get to it. Okay, so right now it's the next day. It got kind of late, so I couldn't record this out at the farm. But just a recap of the Coopsnmore Plucker and Scalder combo. Now, again, that is the combo extra large chicken plucker and 240 volt, 5,000 watt, 32 gallon Pro Scalder. Now, the Scalder, there were several things I liked about it, a couple things I didn't really like. The Scalder has a waterproof on-off switch, which was handy. It had a digital temperature setting board, so the thermostat, it was totally digital, and I set it at 148 degrees and it was holding around 152. So it ran a little hot, which is way better than running a little cold, because as soon as you dip some chickens in, the temperature will drop just a couple degrees. It held a constant temperature very well the entire time. It took about an hour and 15 minutes to get it up to temp from water that was around 45 degrees up to 145 degrees. So it raised 100 degrees in about an hour and 15 minutes, which is not too bad. The little drain nozzle that comes with the Scalder I did not like at all. As soon as I opened it up to drain the Scalder out, it got plugged up with debris. Some of my chickens have rocks on them and dirt and whatnot because they're raised out in the grass and on pasture. So that plug is really ideal if you have clean chickens to begin with, but if your chickens are on pasture, that gets plugged up pretty easily. I'll probably just replace it with a simple plug. The Scalder was very simple to clean. I was able to spray it out and I scrubbed it out with soapy water and it cleaned up really nicely. It looks just like new after one use, which is not surprising, but it's stainless steel. The Scalder is at a very good height to use the dunk basket, which has two handles. It was very easy to use. You can dunk the chickens in, dunk the basket in about halfway to 3/4 and then pull out. I would hold the basket and do about 4 or 5 dunks and then pull it up so that the water was not touching the chickens, hold it out for 5 to 10 seconds and then repeat. And I only had to do that 2, sometimes 3 times, and I was able to easily do 2 chickens at a time. You could probably fit 3 or 4 pretty easily. Now the chicken plucker I really enjoyed using. The one issue that I did have with it was the feathers in the chute did not really come out very well, but I don't think that's because of the build of the plucker. I think that's mostly because the water that I have on the farm is very low pressure, so not much water comes out of the hose at a time. I think if there was more water volume coming out of my hose, it would have easily washed those feathers out into the feather bucket, out of the feather chute. The chicken plucker also has a waterproof on-off switch, which I found very easy to use, albeit a little bit low, so I had to kind of bend over to press it, and it took about 10 to 15 seconds to pluck a chicken. I did try doing 2 at a time at first, but it was a big chicken and a smaller chicken, and so the smaller one had a couple broken bones on its wings. So for the rest of the batch, I just did 1 at a time. I found the motor to be plenty powerful for the job. It didn't have any issues starting up. I could put the chickens in and turn it on, and it had no problem picking up speed almost immediately. Now, I did get my phone in between the motor in the bottom of the plucker and the wall to get a picture of the plate on the motor, and found out that it's a 110 volt 9.9 amp motor, 3 horsepower, and it spins at 1400 rotations per minute. The motor has 2 belts on its pulley connecting it to the drive pulley that's on the shaft connected to the spinning plate in the chicken plucker. So I don't know exactly what the gearing ratio is between the 2 of them, but the motor itself spins at 1400 RPMs. The plucker was pretty easy to clean as well. Obviously you get some feathers stuck around the plucker fingers and you have to pick them out by hand or just leave them and let them dry out. I did like that the entire plucker was coated in a stainless steel sheet metal. That keeps it sanitary and it's very easy to clean, just like the Scalder. I just sprayed it off and just used a scrub brush with soapy water and it cleaned up and looks just like new again. I think this combo would be good for up to 100 chickens at a time. I think more than that and you're kind of pushing the limit unless you have a lot of good help. The last thing I wanted to mention is these aprons, also from Coopsnmore. I really like them. They're inexpensive, but they feel very durable. They're very easy to wash. They go all the way down to my ankles, but not past them. So it's easy to move around in them. They're not too heavy. They don't weigh you down. And they tie on the back, just above the hips, right at the small of your back. So your legs are never impeded. You can easily move around. And they're just nice and bright and flashy. I really enjoyed using these a lot. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Hit the like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And thank you very much.